and then we're gonna go live. I also did something a little different today.
Okay.
I added the link to the Facebook group so people can actually join and ask questions directly through Zoom.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, so just a little bit of tech bonus that I kicked in here today. You going to be passing out candy this evening?
Well, it's probably should have started already, but
Nice.
it is a bit inclement, and the snow is coming, so don't know how that's going to pan out today for the young'uns.
Perfect. I love your mask. It worked out great. Welcome. So we are, let's see, I think we're actually streaming now, and I just need to add this live with Sam. All right, you are on. Real Estate Matters. Join us now. Okay. So we're actually streaming, and so anyway, we're going to get things rolling here officially in 2 seconds, but definitely good to see you. I love that mask. It's definitely good stuff there. Good stuff. Okay. So,
Around a little bit.
How are you?
Man, we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's going to be plenty of candy left over from what I can understand, so we'll see how the kids handle this.
Right. Yeah, I think it'll be great. So anyway, it's Thursday. I am Tom, the People Conductor Black, live with none other than my real estate business program director, Sam Alley. Say hi to Facebook land.
Hello, Facebook land. Hope we're all doing well on this fine sugar-free day.
Yes. I actually have some chocolate. I bought a big bag of from Walmart of chocolate little miniature candy bars, and we've eaten a good amount.
Kind of happens that way, man.
Well, and when I say good amount, like there's probably 100 in there, and we've probably had 15 or 20. But we have plenty to give out, and I just want to do a couple quick shout outs. First and foremost, thank you, Wade. I don't know what HKM stands for, but we do have a couple of people who are on here. Feel free to type your questions into the chat box here in Zoom, or you can post your comments through the Facebook group, the MRB Facebook group. And I really kind of wanted to dive in. I had emailed this to you, pretty much right before we got on, so you didn't really have a chance to see it. But Wade had asked me earlier today, some of the things that you need to kind of get ready for funding. And I wanted to find out if we can kind of go over some of those things. I have a property. I'm interested in getting a property. I put an offer in. Maybe I even go as far to get it under contract. What are some of the things that I have to prepare for you, documentation or whatever it is you're looking for, in your experience?
Whether it's for HIS or really any other lender. I mean, there's a couple of, it's really generic, right? I mean, you've got to have skin in the game.
Okay.
So
and you
obviously,
meaning some cash.
And we kind of talked about this in a team meeting the other day, right? With our MRB clan, and and the things that everybody runs into. You hear funding, and automatically we're running, to think that it's 100%, right? They're just going to fund my deal.
Right.
Doesn't exist. Mom and dad will maybe do that for you. Rich uncle somewhere. But ultimately, number one, if you've never done a deal before, you want to flip, right, Tom? I'm assuming that's what you're saying. All right, well, I
Yeah.
found a deal. We kind of want to flip. I kind of want to jump into this business. God, I hate that. But you shouldn't be doing it, number one, unless you are well capitalized anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Hard money. You either scale your business, not just to have somebody fund your deal, and if you screw up, so what? They get to keep the deal. That's not why lenders are in business. Lenders are in business to loan money, not chase after money gone bad. So, I sometimes have been accused of being a smidge too direct by saying, we're not here to fund your student loan. This is not where you're going to learn, not on my dime, because private investors like Tom will come, and say, okay, Sam, look, I don't want to do anything. Here's $100,000. Please invest it for me. Just give me my monthly return so I can go to the mailbox and get my check, and I'm going to be happy. That's all. And since we're kind of getting to the holiday season now, especially with all the snow happening here in Chicago, I wish I could show you.
Oh, wow.
It's it's sort of like the Bailey Savings and Loan, right, from It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
I take Tom's money, I give that to George. George, starts doing it over here. He's paying me, then I give it here, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's that same type of scenario. So, Wade, if you've never done a deal before, I would hope that if you are seeking funding and if you're looking for money for acquisition as well as the renovation of a deal, that you need to be partnered with somebody that has a track record and that can show me that track record, right? How many deals have they done in the last 12 months, 18 months, 2 years even? And then show me the numbers on that deal and give me the addresses so I can look it up and verify it. I'm not saying that I don't trust you, but in our world, it's trust but verify always.
Right.
So, Wade, I would say to you is that what you can expect from a lender traditionally is anywhere from, say, 35 to 20%, right? 20 to 35% is the skin you may have to bring to the table to have in the game, as well as show several months in reserves for the loan payment, which are simple interest only payments, but I also want to see the reserves. Now, the other part of this is that if you've never done a deal before and want to do it yourself and you don't really have any partners, most lenders will provide you with funding just for the acquisition. And that's going to be based on how solid that deal is, number one. And again, do you have the wherewithal or the ability to repay? That's all lenders are concerned about. Number one and foremost, the ability to repay.
Right.
So you've got to show me that you've got that kind of skin, Wade, right? And then you've got to show me that the deal really is a deal. Then I'll get into that. Because if you don't have the skin anyway, we're wasting our time talking, and perhaps you should wholesale it to build up that cash reserve so you can then get in and do a flip. And then take some of the money from that flip and turn that into a rental property, and then repeat the process.
Right.
So technically, what you need, number one, of course, is an entity. You've got to have an LLC, some type of corporate entity, because these are technically termed business purpose loans, which means I can fund your business, Wade, but I can't fund you specifically. It's got to go to your LLC, your C Corp, your S Corp, whatever you've got set up. That's where it would have to go. It has to be structured properly. So even if you are a single member LLC, you still have to have your operating agreement. And if you're set up right, because if you're not, you just defeated the whole purpose of doing it to begin with, right?
Sure.
Because some of the biggest things that, anytime you want to pull the hook out on me, Tom, feel free, brother. But
Well, no,
anytime somebody, go ahead.
it's not so much I wanted to pull the hook. So what I want to do really quickly is just go over a couple things. Obviously, the deal, we have to have it locked up. When you say you want to find out, or however I can present that to you, so I need obviously the purchase price. Do you want a detailed licensed contractor estimate with scope of work?
Absolutely have to have
Okay.
that. Especially if you're going to be providing renovations, we're going to want to see how you've done your numbers. Absolutely.
Okay. And then on the back end, the fair market value or after repair value, we're going to want to get legitimate, up-to-date, like and similar properties from our real estate agent, so or comps as they call them, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
we need the property purchase price. We need a repair estimate, scope of work. We need the comps, and that's just the information portion. Do you require any kind of documents that we need to get with the contractor to make sure we protect our interests and yours? Do
From a
you
lender's
evaluate that?
from a lender standpoint, what we evaluate is your structure and how your entity is put together, right? Whatever you're doing with the general contractor, right? I mean, if you sign an agreement, I would say it's wise to make sure that whatever it is that you're signing, you better have legal counsel look at it, or at least ask your lender, what do you
Right.
think about this? Because this is the arrangement we've put together. And if you are partnering, like a lot of first-time investors do, is that I'm going to partner with somebody that's a GC, and then we might split the proceeds or something. But if you're technically partnering, then even a joint venture agreement isn't going to help you get renovation funding. They would actually have to be part of your LLC in order for me to fund you on the renovation side as well,
Right.
right? So it's that perspective that they've got to have. I'd like to just be specific, but yeah, when it comes down to documentation time, purchase agreement, want to sew it. If you're purchasing it from a whole for the A to B contract, I want to see that.
Okay.
Um, it's not necessarily that I'm going to tell, the buyer and blow the deal, so to speak, by saying, hey, do you realize this guy is getting, 15 grand on this assignment fee here, and your numbers are going to suck because of it? That's why I request that. I want to make sure, because oftentimes, and especially today in this climate, um, we've got a lot of wholesalers that wind up making more money than the end buyer.
Right. Right.
That's
Well, yeah, that's definitely true, and certainly in hotter markets like North Central all the way down to South Florida, um, there
yep.
are a number, and this is one thing I know that you had said that you're looking. His capital is looking to HIS Capital is looking to expand it to other markets. I have seen a number of numbers throughout the country. I've seen some markets are going flat or soft. So those comp numbers may have to come down to 3 months instead of 6. Now, how do you evaluate the after repair value? Do you want comparables that are fresh as possible, right? So
Here's
do you go
Here's the
out through
twist. This is the
what's that?
twist. This is the twist. The
Okay,
twist now, the way the lending landscape is shifting, right? There are some lenders that are getting exceptionally aggressive, but a lot of the smarter investors, and we can see the pullback coming from the institutional side, are starting to trend towards providing funding based on the as-is value and not so much on the after repair value.
okay. So then they're even less
Bringing up, right?
they're even less exposed in that scenario, right?
Yeah. Yep, I kind of froze there, but we're looking at that because of all the speculation, and what happens in markets, and especially here in Florida, right? I mean, in that market specifically, Tampa's a hotbed. Jacksonville was a hotbed, and bogus numbers, right?
Right.
They're crap. So how am I supposed to guesstimate that, and bring that into the equation? So, other lenders now, we see a shift moving towards it's the as-is value. So when I'm even asking a BPO to be done, or if it has to be an appraisal, I want to look at both sides. I want to
Right.
see what that as is, but then I do want to match it up on ARV, and that's dictated by the market. If properties are, as an example, Tampa and certain markets in Tampa, I mean, their properties are lucky if they're on the market for 3 days. So I don't necessarily need to look 3 months because of how things change or how things will change,
Right.
right? I mean, it's 2 months. It could be 1 month. The way a market is shifting, it could happen that fast,
Right. Right.
um, and
Yeah,
that's where people
because
get burned.
and my personal opinion is, as I watch the market, as I stay informed of what's happening in some of the markets, especially California. California is one of the more volatile ones. When they go up, they skyrocket. When they come down, they come down in big chunks.
Yeah.
And it really depends on what part of the country. But doing the calculations based on the as is value, it's safer for you,
Hmm.
the lender. and all, for all intents and purposes, the individual borrower is probably going to have to pony up some more cash to get to that place.
Yep.
And
yep, which makes them safer too.
Yeah,
Ultimately, and that's the
and
deal.
a couple things I wanted to do before I got any further. I actually reached out to a few folks today, just kind of doing a little checkup from the neck up, and I want to welcome Colette and Colette. Thoughts and prayers with you, Colette. I know I got your message earlier. Your husband is out of the hospital. Good news, good news. And Christina has also joined us. I reached out to her earlier today. And I don't know if you remember a few weeks ago, Sam, we were actually talking about Christina in particular. She had mentioned about trying to balance full-time job, work, family, and starting her business.
Yes.
And, I was very excited to hear from her today when we were exchanging some private messages that she's making headway and consistently moving along. And so really, really proud of you, Christina. Thank you for joining us, Colette. Wade, any questions that you have, feel free to post them here on Zoom or on the Facebook group. And I think Hollywood tuned in for a minute. So, hey, Andrew, if you're there. For those of you who don't know who Hollywood is, that's who I will be for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be this gentleman with my mask when I give out candy today.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
And that was on your recommendation, by the way.
Yeah,
So I was like, you know what, that is a great idea, because you had mentioned pardon the interruption, and
sure.
So every time I see him, sometimes we'll get on Facebook together and I'll use that. And, and like obviously we did that yesterday.
Yeah.
So, just trying to keep it light and do things.
That's cool.
I want to read a couple things that Wade wrote here real quick. It says, have everything structured very well to protect everyone and find great opportunities confirmed by top agents. Aside from constant networking, I'm curious the best route to contact and present. I tend to have too much information and confirmation. Is too much a turnoff, and you want to get right to the point. So is too much data a problem?
To who?
I'm going to say to you, to provide you with information. I don't think he's talking about analysis paralysis. I'm thinking, is there too much information to present to you, or you have a checklist for your borrower for exactly what you need?
You know what? We do have checklists, of course, that say, we're going to want this, 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 and this, of course, and insurance. Make sure, Wade, that you've got your insurance agent lined up, because you are going to need to insure the property the minute you sign on the dotted line, and that insurance has to be lined up before funding is actually going to take place.
Right.
So your lender's going to want to see that, and you want to get on that early to find out what that lender's requirements may be. And actually, you don't want to do that. You just want to provide the lender with your insurance agent's contact information and let them handle that process.
Right.
But, is there too much information? Look, you're saying you're relying on realtors. Are these realtors that are working with investors and selling to investors on a regular basis?
Okay.
If they're not, I'm not really going to think too kindly or highly of the numbers that they're throwing out, because they don't think like investors.
Okay.
All too many realtors don't get the difference between ROI or NOI or any of the I's that we do. And it's, it's just, look, if you're going to be working with somebody, that too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and that being said, here's the thing that I run into many times over the last 15 years is that the wholesaler and or the agents are comparing ranchers to colonials and 4.2s to 3.2s. And that's a big deal. We're talking, if you've got a 1,200 square foot house, you cannot use an 1,800 square foot house as a comparable without adjusting.
Yep.
If it's the same kind of property, you're not going to be able to, if it's a $300,000, 1,800 square foot house, yours is not going to be worth $300,000, period.
Yep.
And so you have to make that adjustment, right?
Yeah. I mean, the comps, when we look at comps, right? Are they sold comps or are they pending comps? Or are they, you know what I mean? And oftentimes, even in the BPOs that lenders are forced to use, a lot of us use the same vendor for BPOs. No, it's just basically guys performing the BPOs are just realtors picking up some extra cash, but they're only getting 30 to 50 bucks to perform that, BPO. Some are simply drive-by exteriors, others are interior and exterior. So,
Right.
what you're getting is somebody that's trying to hustle for a buck. Will take on, hey, look, I'll take 10 or 15 BPOs a week to put some extra money in my pocket. But, that's it. They're looking on the MLS. They're just grabbing and grabbing and grabbing and not being exactly very thorough. So if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have your own way, Wade, of breaking that stuff down and
Right.
really making sure it's apples to apples, then be careful, right, of who you're getting information from. But use that as a gauge, right, to see who's more on target than not. And
Do
that's
you,
the person
do
that
you,
you work with, right?
yeah, exactly. Do you, Sam, steer away from a property that may not be in a, for lack of a better word, cookie cutter neighborhood, maybe something that's a little rural? Are you very much stricter on those comps?
Most lenders are, I'm going to throw us in the bucket. I mean, lending in general. We're getting to a point now, right, where major metros, there's no deals there. So we go to the secondary market, or we go to, based on where we're at, that secondary / tertiary market
Right.
is kind of out in the sticks a little bit. And, I'll use the Tampa heading up towards Lakeland area and surrounding areas in Orlando, Point Siena, areas like that now, as it's evolving out of the city and deals are harder to find and we're getting further out, some of those areas are still marked agricultural.
Right.
That's a problem, especially for hard money lenders. There really aren't too many, if any, that I'm aware of, hard money lenders that are going to fund in an agricultural zoned area.
Right.
Some local guys might consider it if you're coming, say, 50% down. They may consider it because that might be paper that I'll hold my. A lot of guys, a lot of organizations do, right? We recapitalize, right? We create a note and recapitalize immediately because all these big hedge fund buyers out there want to buy those notes so they can sell them off to Wall Street, make some cash, and away we go again.
Okay.
So, but agriculturally zoned is coming across my desk, and I'm scratching my head until that word comes out about agricultural zone. Like, how the heck can they not get this deal done? What's the problem, right? We got to peel back the onion and say, oh, there you go. If I would have known that at first, we wouldn't have spent the last 30 minutes on the phone together,
Right.
telling you what I can and I can't do.
Okay.
So,
And now I have another question along the same lines. I know that many lenders are asset based, but you also qualify the borrower as well. Um, as a general rule of thumb, is there a minimum credit score you're looking for, and anything like that, or is it always case by case?
you know what? Again, I'll just say for HIS, we definitely have a minimum score. Um, although, again, factors, right? There are always factors. I could have crap credit, right? I've talked to somebody with 500 credit, but there were certainly extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
And we're not talking about somebody that, and there's a lot of those types of things that take place, but they are liquid. They've got enough to do the deal. They've got enough in reserves. They've got enough, you know what I mean? They've got a letter of explanation for why this happened or why this happened, so it makes sense. Then the deal, actually, when we look at the deal and then the deal makes sense, well,
Right.
there's a way that we can get this done. The
Right.
caution that I throw out to everybody is just because the deal can get done, then don't come back and try to quibble on rates. You're typically going to pay the highest percentage, right? Whether it's 12%, whatever the case may be, that's what you're going to wind up paying. And then when you think about it, and this is the issue that really is a sticking point for me when I'm talking to novice investors, is stop focusing on the rate. This is about using leverage and you being able to execute on what you think you can get done. If
Right.
you can, that rate's not going to matter. Because usually what happens is most people are trying to negotiate cheaper rates, and you're basically talking about a couple $100. As it comes
Sure.
right down to it, $300, $400, $500, $600 or something like that. In general, right? And you're going to quibble or try to haggle over that when we're talking about thousands here.
Right.
So instead of haggling, get the freaking dough, and let's get on with the project and get it done and perform.
Sure.
Because as you build up that record or that track record of performing, then your numbers get better. Then that investor can trust you, right? I can trust, yeah, Tom's done a couple of deals with me. He's worked out very well. He's paid on time. Sold his deal. He made the money that we thought he was going to make because he executed properly. Now we can play a little give, on rate or something like that, even with his credit being crappy, because there's a track record, there's a performance and a relationship established.
Right.
So one of the things never, and I'm going to tell you guys, everybody that's gone through a seminar, you get the script from everybody, right? Okay, now we want you to do your homework. I want you to call some lenders tomorrow and use the script. Hi, I'm an investor looking to build a relationship with a lender. The minute that comes out of your mouth, I know you just got out of a boot camp. And I'm going to ask you, so who was in town this weekend? Was it Trump? Was it Kiyosaki's group? Was it Fortune Builders?
Right.
You tell me, right? Don't throw that crap out. You're not, right?
Right.
You're going to be an investor. But right now, this is where I'm at. And you fund me, right? If I find a deal, what do I need? Just like Wade just asked right now. That should be the question, rather than trying to come off because you haven't done a deal yet. You haven't even looked at a deal yet. But they've got you talking to a lender when you've got nothing anyway.
Right.
So might as well ask that lender what the requirements are. And if I am a novice investor, what would you need to see from me? Just like Wade just asked today. So great job, Wade, because that's exactly what people should be doing.
Right.
Rather than using those bogus scripts that guru types give you.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. And that brings me up to another point is one of the reasons that we've created this Facebook group, why we have now an incredible software that some of our members have taken advantage of to help them run their business. We want to be here for you, not to teach you and then throw you out to the wolves. We want to be part of the process. That's why we do this every week. We have Andrew doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so we can kind of get you in alignment with the motivation and moving in the right direction. And then on Thursdays, we want to get into some actual specifics, some questions, some topics, those kind of things. I know that you and Andrew are going to be interviewing some industry professionals. That's very exciting.
Yep.
And then on Fridays, I'm going to be putting out information on the MRB CRM system, where you can do marketing, keep track of your leads, keep track of your team. And our tool works as a kind of a one-stop shop for you to operate your business out of one platform. So definitely make sure that you tune in tomorrow.
Nice.
It'll probably be around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'll post announcements about it. But the other thing I wanted to just mention, and it kind of, I talked to one of my associates yesterday. I have a friend of mine in North Carolina. He does an exit strategy called Subject 2. And we're not going to get into that right now. But I call him, much like my friend in Baltimore, his name is Charles Blair. He runs the second largest real estate meetup in the country. He goes by the moniker the Mad Scientist because he's incredibly creative. He has orchestrated his entire business and it's completely automated. But he calls people who teach that do real estate, he calls them gurus. So for lack of a better term, Sam, you are a guru. You're doing it and you're sharing about it. And I love that terminology. And that's another thing.
Cool.
Like I said, I was on with an interview with Jeff yesterday. And there are people who do 3 or 5 or 10 deals, and then they just start selling their program, and they stop doing deals. Those are what I classify as a guru type. They just want to tell you what they've done. And I'm not saying it doesn't have value. What I believe is active practitioners are going to be able to bring more valuable content. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's because they're still active. And again, Tom, here's the thing, right? Everybody wants to be a millionaire, right? Now, 1 in 20 people will become a millionaire. That means 95% of the world, or the US anyway, let's use that. 95% are going to wind up needing government assistance or some other type of assistance for their days.
Right.
So,
Job or whatever, is that what you're referring to? Yeah.
whatever,
They're not going to
right? I mean,
be
it's just
financially free.
no, nowhere close, right? I mean, everybody says, oh, well, hell, even if I could be comfortable. Well, what is that? What is comfortable, right? I mean, and then I want to throw this out a minute, right? Just to throw this out. And I call it a middle class hangover, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's picture this. And I know the average yearly salary isn't even close to this, but let's picture $100,000 a year salary, okay? Which is let's just say 70,000 a year net after tax. Break that down, 5,800 a month is what that would come out to. So the average rent or mortgage is at a point now where it's about 2,300 a month. Average car and insurance running around 500 a month for those people that are making car payments, insurance and such. Health insurance is about 300 a month, maybe more. Cell phone, internet, a couple $100, 250 a month. Let's say that's about a standard average of what I've been looking at numbers wise. Average entertainment for many has been about 400 to 600 a month. And entertainment can mean a number of different things.
Sure.
And the average food, right around 600 a month. Food, entertainment, around 600 a month. So, and those are only the basics. So now we're at 45.50 a month. And I bring you back to what we're bringing home a month, 5,800. Okay. So there's no way to save outside of the middle class in under a few decades. 5 years from now, if you don't spend a buck or have expected bills, just based on what I just outlined, you'll have about $75,000 saved. Unfortunately, 5 years from now, that'll only have the buying power of about $65,000. So
Right.
you've lost money to inflation, right?
Sure.
In addition, our monthly costs are going to continue to rise. And that'll be those will rise another 15% higher in the next 5 years. So what I'm getting to is the problem isn't our overhead. That's not going to go anywhere but up. So what we have to do is to increase our skill set every day to beat the cost of living that we're due when we wake up, right?
Right.
So for
We had,
Tom as well as myself, and Tom's coming back. So good
yes.
timing. I was just about to launch out of this, dude. So
No, I apologize. I got internet challenges once in a while. I have no idea. I have Comcast or Xfinity,
as
and
do I.
and what's weird, what is odd, is 98% of the time it works fine. The time it doesn't is typically when I'm talking to you or when I'm talking to someone else about MRB stuff.
There you go, man.
That's it. But it's all good. And getting back to what you were saying, one of the things that I want to mention, and everyone who's on the call should definitely have "Investing with a Purpose" by Rick Malero. But one of the things that Andrew was talking about a few days ago, and this is, and I saw something with Ty Lopez the other day, who's a multi-millionaire and super marketing genius, and he does real estate and other things. And I can't knock it. He's all over social media, and some people can feel some kind of way. He's successful. Period. End of story. But the fact of the matter is, Andrew said that the average individual, American worker, earns about $50,000 a year. Okay, on average, if you took everybody, welfare, and some people may have a better job, what have you. And that person, those average people, read 1 to 5 books a year.
Yeah.
The CEOs in our country have an average income of $480,000, which puts them in the top 1%. And they typically read 1 book a week. A week. So one of the things that when you talked about the middle class hangover, I can tell you right now, if your plan and goal and your dream is to become a millionaire, grab a book, and I don't care what it is. I want it to be enlightening. It could be spiritual. It could be investing with a purpose. It could be professional, self-help, personal development, any of those things. But if you are constantly educating yourself on information on which you know nothing every week, you're constantly sharpening your saw. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, Tom, to an extent, right? Because we have to act on what
the
we
knowledge.
read.
We have to apply the knowledge.
And that's the problem, right? We have a lot of readers, and we kind of touched on that a couple of weeks ago, and I told you about the story that Rick told the kid to just burn the books because you ain't done nothing, kid. You've read a lot, you can talk a lot, but you've never done a damn thing. You've never used any of that information. So that's the thing, right? I mean, look, even if it's not a book a week, guys, 10 pages a night that could better you and put you in a better position. And to a young lady that is working on her life in time that you mentioned earlier, and God bless you for taking that step forward for yourself. We said the biggest life hack is being able to say no, but it's applying that knowledge from whatever we get, because we can say all day long, yeah, man, I know that. Yeah, man, I know that. Yeah, man. But we still don't do it. Right? Sure. So what gets you from, and it's the old story of the dog that's howling at the moon, and everybody like, why the heck is that dog howling? Well, it's sitting on a nail. It's just too damn lazy to get up off the nail. It don't hurt that bad.
So what are you saying? Don't sit on nails?
I'm saying definitely don't sit on nails if you can avoid it, right? And get off your ass, right? And whatever that book told you to do, because hey, look, the book could be written by a quack, right? Take some of the information, go apply it, see if it resonates with you, because then if it does, it's going to stick to you. You're going to get, you know what, crap, that worked. Right. All right, I'm going to go back and read 10 more pages. Let's see, and I'll try that tomorrow. Take that approach if you're not a reader. I was never a voracious reader, Tom, honestly. I could probably count on one hand how many books I actually did read that wasn't forced to in school, right? But on my own chose to read. And I definitely love the audio thing. That I dig that, right? But to pick up a book, if it's not going to capture me in that first 10 pages, I'm never getting through the rest of it. It's as simple as that. Right. So, and I've got to do something with it. But 10 pages a day or night or whatever it is, before you go to bed, man, feed your body properly, feed your mind, and lay your head down on the pillow. You get up, start with motivation.
Another thing that I've heard is if you want to really know where someone stands financially, look at the size of their TV and their library.
Library, absolutely. That's not a misnomer at all, because frankly, most of the people that I know, for me to be able to sit down and enjoy some of the World Series was kind of like a pleasure. And it's been a while to be able to do that.
Right.
It shouldn't be priority, Monday Night Football or whatever the case may be, right? Life goes on. They're getting paid to do what they got to do, right? And entertainment is one thing, and there's nothing wrong with sitting down and enjoying a ball game or whatever it is, your favorite show or whatever. But when we talk about the average American is watching 4 hours of TV a day, when the hell's that happening? You get home from work, you plop down in front of you get your crap done, you put the kids doing the homework, whatever, and now you're in front of the TV for the next 3 or 4 hours. What can you do at that time? Instead of watch everybody else get paid, you're sitting there watching them get paid.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know how that makes sense. Yeah. And in what world that makes sense, especially when we can do the things that we can do today, technology, and just a little bit of effort every day, little bit. And you're
what I want everyone to understand, everyone in the group to understand as we wrap this up, Sam, is we are coming from a place of love and contribution. We care about you as individuals, as people, and we want to figure out the best way to add value or to elevate you or to motivate you or even educate you. And we've taken a lot of time
Yeah.
and we still take this time out of our lives for you because it's supposed to be mutually beneficial. So is there anything else that you wanted to add today on what we've covered and some of the thoughts you've shared?
No, you know what? For everybody out there, it's the same thing we're doing with our team internally at HIS. Sometimes we put a plan together and we fall off the bicycle. It's like going back and forth to the gym, right? You get into a groove for a while and then you stop, right? We start, we stop, we start, we stop. Don't stop, right? I mean, just because, hey, a crappy day. To me, there's no such thing as a crappy day because I woke up and I have a chance to make it a better day.
Yes.
It's all choices, right? Coffee pot doesn't go off to start your day, and people let it ruin their day. My wife, God bless her, Carol, I love you. But if that coffee ain't ready, at 5 a.m. when she comes down the stairs, I'm ducking and covering, man. I'm
Wow.
not saying a word. I'm not opening my mouth. I'm not right. No way, babe. Go do your thing. But
yeah, I've actually cut out my coffee. I drink maybe 1 or 2 cups a week, and I used to be 2 or 3 cups a day. I feel better and I think more clearly. But as always, Sam, it's an absolute pleasure. I feel that some of the people in our group, are really not only getting something out of this time, but as an intuitive and as an empath, I'm really starting to feel that we're building and creating a good community here, and I'm so glad to be a part of it, and I'm so glad to have you in my world. I can tell you that.
Thrilled, brother, and appreciate you very much. And I think to anybody that's out there, if you got some value and you do get value from us, those read minds. So, I mean, Tom will genuinely help anybody. That's what I feel about you, man. Empath or not, you just have that in your heart. So, birds of a feather, dude.
Yep. And to that point, we've talked about it a couple times, Sam, and I'll leave everybody with this. I wasn't always this person. But as I've grown and as I've surrounded myself with better people and as I've done some reading, I've tapped into that mentality of service, and that's what I think we're all about. So, as always, thank you so much for this time. We'll be talking soon. I'm sure I'll see you next week. Talk to you next week. If anyone has any questions, please put it in the comments. We'll get back to it, whether we post it in the group or next Thursday. So thank you all for joining us and tuning in. This is Tom and Sam saying goodnight, and we'll see you soon. Happy Halloween. Have a safe and fun night tonight, everyone. Take care very much.
Thanks, Tom. Be well, brother.
All right, you too. Bye.
See ya.